brother. How you doing?
You know what the thing about this is, Jazz? We're always live, buddy. Right now we're live, buddy.
Yeah, we're live. We're
Right now we're
alive.
live,
That's
buddy.
all. That's obviously a good thing.
Hey,
I'm.
right now we're live, buddy.
You're obviously in Mississauga right now at home. What do you got there? Wow, that looks amazing. French toast.
Nope.
Eh,
Toast with a fried egg and some feta cheese, boy.
I
Because
love
this
love it.
Greek needs feta.
Why did you have to do the feta, buddy? Like, why do you got to live? Like, why? Why?
Because I'm Greek, Jazz. And that's what I do.
Yeah, so us Indians don't really do a lot of cheese, but we do have something that we grill for breakfast. That's kind of cheesy, but it's not that common. Anyways, welcome to everybody to Brunch with REC. It is a, believe it or not, a November edition, but I'm looking outside my window right now here in Toronto, and it does not feel and or look like a November. It's 17 degrees right now.
Nice.
Beautiful, beautiful Saturday morning. Let us know where you're signing in from. We always like to get an idea for where all our insiders and friends are coming in at. Today's Brunch with REC, we thought we would do something that we probably, what do we do, Seamus? We probably do this kind of Q&A format with our audience probably 3 to 4 times a year. And so we thought, why not now? Like, why not today? There's so much happening
So
in and
much
around
noise
real
happening.
estate.
There's a
Yeah,
lot of
noise.
noise right now.
Yeah, and like, look, I don't think it's necessarily like negative noise by any means. Some of it is like in terms of like it's just headlines and people are wanting, the old clickbait kind of stuff to get you to read the article, which I understand. I mean, these websites, these blog sites, these news outlets are not nonprofit. So I don't dislike them in that sense. However, we as the community and myself and Simos's job, we think anyways, is to help you kind of declutter all that noise.
Or we
And
try anyways.
yeah. Didn't Yoda
How
say there's no
successful are
hey,
we? I
hey,
don't know.
hey, didn't
But
Yoda say there's no trying, there's just doing or something like that? And so that's what we're gonna do today. And so maybe you and I will kind of go on our soapbox in terms of what we're hearing, in terms of the market, and then you guys who are watching right now, like it doesn't matter from which angle, which city you're signing in from. Ask us the questions. Try to please keep it to real estate. But you know what? Even with that said, we'll open it up even more than that. You want to go a little bit more personal with us, get to know us even a little bit more. Feel free to do that. Throw the questions in the comments section. Stephen Rochester is always behind the ones and twos with us, and so he'll do as you just probably noticed, someone telling us where they're coming in from, and I apologize, it went off the screen quite quickly. But what Stephen will do is bring up your questions. But I mean, there's so many ways we can go with this today, Simos. You want to, like, I got some stats in front of me. You probably have them in front of you as well. And so you want to start there? You want to just kind of start with high level GTA market stats, and then there's a couple of articles that came out this past week that maybe we should touch on. Right, you were quoted in one of them for sure, maybe even a couple of them, but the one that I'm thinking of right now is, well, with what's happening in the assignment world, meaning people who maybe bought a condo 2 years ago and now they're having a little tougher time to close. Your thoughts on that, my thoughts on that, people's questions on that. We'll discuss that. A video that I just kind of shot really quickly before I came on to the brunch was an article about what the government's proposing in and around the Greenbelt legislation.
that's huge.
And
It's
and
massive.
and and it's been kind of cool. Like I just put it up, I think 25, 30 minutes ago. And people are like going long tail with their thoughts on it, on
Because
that
it's a
video.
big topic. It's a
Yeah,
big topic.
and you know what I said, brother, and I hope everybody who's watching can understand where we're coming from. Like, look, when we talk about the Greenbelt legislation, it's a It's a hot topic. It's a touchy topic. And so let's have a healthy debate. Let's have a healthy debate. Let's be nice about it. Obviously, there's a couple of different point of views when it comes to the Greenbelt legislation. So again, and then there's probably an article or two that is in your head as well, Simos, that you want to touch on. To everyone who's signing on right now.
So you know what, Jazzy? Why don't we do this, man? Let's create an impromptu agenda. Let's go. Let's
go. Stats.
Let's do stats. Let's do Greenbelt.
Let's do assignments. Let's do assignments. And then pick another one. And then I think that's
last but not least, I want to talk about the inclusionary zoning because that's massive.
Perfect.
Inclusion.
And then we'll go into Q&A. And then we'll go right into
inclusionary Q&A. Assignments.
While Simos is writing down the agenda for today, everyone who's watching, while questions come up, don't wait to type them in. Type them in right away. We're going to get to them at the end. Big shout out to my boy, Imran Jaxi. You're coming in from Vaughan. It's funny. I was just talking about you. For some reason, I thought you lived in Markham, but now I know you're in Vaughan, so that's good. For everybody who's watching, do us a favor and put those questions in the comments, and we're going to make sure that we get to as many as we possibly can. So let's get started, Simos. Let's just jump right into it, brother. Because let's try to finish this today, because I got to be honest, I also want to enjoy this 17 degree weather in November as quickly as possible. So we'll try to be, another, call it 40 minutes or so. We'll go till 11:15 Eastern. We'll try our best. So GTA market stats, man. Where do you want to go with this, brother?
So I personally, it's just a complete validation month in and month out. So I personally don't want to go into the 3.2, 6.7, etc. If anybody wants the stats and talk about them in that way, please send us a quick email, info@reccanada.com, and you can get the stats with as much backup as you want. This thick if you want, no problem. What I will say, just to keep, because I want to really hit on, there's some major things that I want us to hit on today.
But hang on, Simos,
one second. Big impact.
One sec, brother. What did you mean by the 3.2, 6.7? Because
the detailed analysis.
Got it. That's why I just want to make sure people understand.
Inventory of 2.6. Well, how does that impact someone? I want to talk about the impact and what that means to someone, rather than speak to the numbers. Anybody who wants the numbers, please send us an email. You'll have them in 1 second flat. Good morning, Art. So what is completely being solidified every month is the fact that people are worried, is this recession going to crash the housing market? That's the constant question, constant. And the answer to that is, it's very unlikely. And that's not because we're optimists. As real estate brokers, whether it goes up or whether it goes down, we're in the middle of the sale. So for us to speak with fake optimism or to be pessimistic about it, it does no purpose. The thing here is announcement after announcement. We went from 300,000 in immigration to a target now of 500,000, and they're saying that's going to increase.
500,000 by 2025, I think.
That's per year, 500,000 per year by 2025.
Yep.
So the target of 400K plus of new people coming into this country is happening as we speak. They are on target and increasing.
Always important to mention where 50% of those people go, because this is where we do a majority of our business. This is where 90% of our clients do their business, and they come into the GTA. So 50% of that.
Into our entire audience, into our lovely clients in the West. The other half are going to Vancouver, man.
Yep, for sure.
5% going to Ottawa, another few to Calgary, Edmonton, and maybe Montreal. But the vast majority, let's call it 40 and 40%, are going to Van City and to T-Dot, period. Yeah. So that's reality. What's also reality is that the only thing that's changed since February are interest rates. The housing crisis and the supply crisis has not been addressed. So no matter what, this is me personally now. I'm speaking me as Simeon, you as Jazz. I can tell you without any doubt whatsoever that for the next 10 years, not the next year, not the next 5, but for the next 10 years, more money will be made in real estate than anything else bar none, because all those people need to be addressed. And our entire agenda today, from assignments to Greenbelt to inclusionary zoning, the only things those are doing is trying to address the supply issue. So please think that the hot button topics in real estate today are all surrounding supply. So that's kind of the premise and thesis of our business. That is the thesis of why we encourage people and educate people to join us in investing in real estate, and we'll take it from there.
Well, now let's touch on something before we go through kind of our agenda. And for people that are just signing on, today's brunch with REC is going to be myself and Simos just kind of going on our agenda slash I call it the soapbox, and then we're going to do a Q&A. So make sure you get all your questions, your concerns, put them into the comments, and Stephen Rochester, who controls the ones and twos in the back end, will make sure he brings those up. The agenda today, in specifically speaking, we're going to start moving towards talking about some of the articles that have been in like all news outlets. We're going to touch on that. Just before we go there, I do think we need to give some of the time and some respect to people that are concerned about what's happening with the interest rates. And so there was an announcement made last Wednesday. It was an increase of 50 basis points, 0.50. What does all that stuff mean? Look, the average mortgage now for a variable is flirting around 5.7 to 5.9. Okay, a 5-year fixed is right around there as well. I think I was speaking to one of our independent mortgage brokers actually last night. We were just in conversation, and he's seeing fixed rates as we speak right around that 5.7 to 5.8 kind of range, which to some people will be like, holy crap, like they haven't seen that in a long time, which is very like I completely understand that, but know that myself and Simeon have been doing this now. At the end of this year, it's coming up to 18 years. So we've seen interest rates go up, interest rates go down, values go up, values go down. And so what I like to kind of touch on right now is for our investor community that has some negative cash flow. If they have negative cash flow, because I get a lot of DMs about, Jazz, what should I do? Because now I'm putting money into my investment. And what I'm telling people is exactly what I'm telling myself, because I start with myself first, because I am an investor as well, and I'm seeing negative cash flow now on a few of my properties, actually 3 to be exact, and each of them, okay, with the hike of the interest rate, I'm now on each of them, my monthly payment has gone up on each of these properties on average by about $1,500 a month. Okay, my negative cash flow is probably in and around, I'm going to say about $1,000 a month right now, okay, on each of these properties. So I want people to kind of understand what we're also going through. And 2 of those 3 properties, actually 1 of those 3 properties, Simo says, you and I have it together in downtown Toronto, okay? Now, what's my options? And what's going to be your options if you're in this situation? Number 1 option is to sell easily. Like, you can sell the property, okay? What you have to consider is obviously values have come down in some of the areas. Not all micro markets have values gone down. So I'm going to talk in the macro, but
as a matter of fact, in some areas they've gone up.
Exactly, right? But let's just speak in the macro of the GTA, and I can actually probably say right across the country. When you take the urban cities, and in terms of what's happened with the values, let's just say the values have dropped. So you can sell and cash out. Now, the only thing that I want you to also consider on top of that, especially if it's an income property, is your capital gains. So that's what I was looking. I was like, okay, hang on. Like, I'm kind of like, for a lack of a better word, bleeding in some of these properties, right? Can I hold on to them? Yes, but as a prudent investor, I have to actually ask myself, should I maybe even be selling them? So as I did the math on my properties, after the capital gains that I'm going to be paying on the properties and the expenses, and in some of those investment properties / income properties that I have, the value has gone down in those areas. I'm actually worse off in terms of net profit. Okay, I'm actually worse off by selling than actually keeping them. So for me, I'm actually going to keep these properties because I have a feeling, call this, men's intuition or whatever you want to call it, okay? I have this feeling that rates are going to start to drop in a 12-month period. Next year, this time in November, I'm glad it's being recorded, nor am I trying to forecast it, but my gut feeling tells me that sometime in November of, October, November, fallish of 2023, I'm going to start to see interest rates drop. Now, my 18 years of experience tells me the second interest rates drop, this magical thing starts to happen that you can't really touch, see, and smell, but you feel it. It's called consumer confidence. And what happens is more people want to get back into the market, which brings the values up again. And then that's why what Simo said, in the next 10 years, we always talk about holding on to your properties for a long period of time, thinking about your portfolio in a 10-year window. For some, that's going to sound like, we're crazy because it's a decade, but we know over time that you gotta be able to have the stomach. If you want to really create wealth in real estate, you need to have that stomach for the ups and downs. What's kind of your thought process on what I just said, Simos?
Well, first and foremost, you've done an excellent job kind of summarizing where things are at.
Did I ever tell you how good? Did I ever tell you how? Hey, did I ever tell you how good you are for my ego?
Well, I just like you today a little bit.
Okay, good.
And if I have to see you today or play poker against you, I want you to have your guard down.
You already said no. You don't want to come play poker with me because
I have to work tomorrow.
Yeah,
because I have to work tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Go.
I'm at the wedding show tomorrow, audience, and if I go to Jazz's house for poker, only one thing is going to happen.
You're going to lose your money. That's what's going to happen.
And I will not be driving home either.
Well, obviously.
So with that being said, I'm going back to one thing. You said by this time next year. So whether it's in 6 months, in 9 months, or in 12 months, or in 18 months, you spoke to consumer confidence, also known as consumer sentiment, also known as people right now are waiting for the shoe to drop. What does that mean? They know that they've seen in recorded history, in North America, recorded history of like actual banking, organized real estate, organized society, never in its history have interest rates gone up this much, this fast. So the velocity and the adjustment of the central banking system has never before ever acted this prudent, this fast to fix their own mistake. Meaning they waited too long to adjust after the pandemic, and now they're rushing to fix something that we didn't cause. This wasn't an inflation based on consumer spending here. It's based on supply chain mismanagement, wars, other outside factors that now have become our problem. So we have to fix a problem we didn't create, but that's okay. And this is what we're going to have to do as society, because to complain about it will do nothing. So this is what we're enduring. But what people in this market needs to see is we just saw that 0.5. That 0.5 to me, to somebody in the business, is a good thing because it wasn't 0.7 and it wasn't 1. It was already, because people say, oh, no, another 3/4 to a point. That's going to be it. They're going to put us in a recession. We are in a recession. Stop the nonsense. We don't need the channels on the media to tell us if we're in a recession. If your food bill is at $450 and it used to be $250. If your gas is $180 to fill up a truck where it used to be $100. So we know, or we should know, everybody is feeling it. So let's not dodge words for the sake of anything, but the minute the next announcement comes in December, and if it's a quarter, the next one in February, March, and it's 0, and that is the public proof that we have reached the bottom, is when you're going to have every Tom, Dick, and Harry right screeching back into the market, shooting prices up, and doing all the things that we've seen in 2008, in 2014, in 2017, and now we're going to see it again because we're not as special or as cool as people think. History repeats itself time and time again. And if we don't learn and use history as our guiding principle and teacher, we are the fools.
Well, that's a great segue into the supply conversation. I say great segue because I actually specifically want to talk about the article in and around the Greenbelt, like what the government is proposing in and around the government. I apologize, the Greenbelt legislation. So let's talk about that, because obviously they know that with the amount of people that are coming in to the Greater Toronto Area now specifically, I'm not going to talk about the country because the Greenbelt legislation, which was put into effect in 2005, restricts builders on developing some of the land that's on the northern part of the Golden Horseshoe. In this Golden Horseshoe, the numbers that are being quoted from Immigration Canada, we're looking at a little over or close to 1.5 to 1.6 million people coming in the next 7 to 8 years. Okay, so this legislation that was put into play, and I'm kind of torn on this, and so this is where I really want the healthy debate, not only with you and I, Simos, but I'm imploring everybody who's watching right now, put in your thoughts, and maybe they're questions, but even if they're thoughts, we just want to be able to read them in terms of the fact that what the government wants to do now is actually lift some of the restriction that is the Greenbelt legislation. They want to open it up. They want to have developers actually be able to build on some of these parcels of land because of the fact that we have such a supply issue. Now, we want to preserve the land. I mean, that's why I say I'm torn. Like, I don't want to see this greenery be taken away. We need it for agriculture. We need it for so many reasons. However, there is no more parking lots in downtown Toronto. There isn't a lot of space just north of the downtown core, actually where our headquarters are and where I'm actually looking out right now down the DVP, okay? There's not a lot of open space to build here. There's like very, very little. Like, you don't really see any new condo projects. And even when a condo comes up, some of the restrictions around how high they can go up doesn't really help the fact of how many people and how much housing we actually need. Long gone are the days where in like Toronto proper, where you see a subdivision being built. Subdivision of a couple of hundred homes. It's just, you don't see that anymore.
Well, no, so there is none. There is none.
Zero. That's what I'm saying.
Zero.
Right? And yes, you do see condos. And the reason you see condos is because you can't build out these subdivisions of homes. You can only kind of build upwards. But the condos are still not what everybody wants. Right? And so and families are growing and people need to be closer to work. Anyways, with all that said, it's why now we need to, again, this is where I'm torn, we need to start to open up some of this restricted land. As much as it hurts me to say, it, at least bare minimum, the government's coming to the table and discussing it. I want to get your thoughts, brother.
Listen, I have a lot of thoughts because I definitely, you're of Indian descent. I'm of Greek descent. In Greece, if anybody has been to Athens, and you can speak to India. I've never been to India, but I can speak to Athens. I can speak to where I come from. I come from the northwest city of about 300,000 people, surrounded by mountains. I'm not an island boy. I'm from the mainland. We have to drive about 45 minutes to get to the ocean. And the air there is probably one of the most magnificent things ever. Talking about Athens, a city that's 3,000 years old, that's built on top of itself about 4 or 5 different times. There is not a tree to be found in the city. It's a cement nightmare.
Concrete
Forget
jungle.
about the few streets that you see on postcards. We're talking about Metro Athens. The buildings and the Parthenon, the Acropolis, all the idyllic, beautiful things, they're there. And there's beautiful trees and cypresses in the middle of the city, yes. But go a kilometer off the strip and another 30 kilometers that way or in any way, and the only thing you see is cement. And it's nasty. It's disgusting. So there is nothing nice, and there is no going back. Once you rip the trees out and pour asphalt, it's over forever. So the Greenbelt legislation was introduced and put in place for a reason. I moved to Toronto in 2000. Every single day from May 1st to September, because I worked in like downtown Bay Street. I worked for the banks. I did. I was at the CIBC Tower. Okay. Every day there was smog advisory. Do you guys remember the smog advisories? Where did the smog advisories go? Did we just solve the environmental challenges overnight? Or did we shut down every single smog producing factory and introduce Greenbelt? And all of a sudden we can breathe. It's not a coincidence that smog went away within 24 hours. All of a sudden it doesn't exist. Like the cars don't make fumes anymore. So
there's not enough Teslas out there yet.
That's a whole different thing that we're not going to get into. Because I have a hybrid.
Yeah.
But where is the battery going to go? Where? Anyways, we're not going there. But the whole point of this exercise, you're doomed if you do, you're doomed if you're not.
Yeah.
This is not a winning debate. We can have all the friendly debate in the world, but we're choosing between a 9mm and a big sword.
Yeah.
If we don't build housing, prices are going to keep skyrocketing. We're going to keep driving further and further. If we build the housing, we're literally choking ourselves with our own tie. Right now, there is above and beyond the Greenbelt legislation is when I talk about the inclusionary zoning.
Let's go there.
There are solutions. There are solutions to fix this without sacrificing maybe too much of the Greenbelt.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, and really quickly, I apologize. And Simo, so you're going to go back into the inclusionary zoning for sure, but this is not eliminating the whole Greenbelt that we have here. I want to make sure that I throw that in there. This is just, they're at least sitting at the table discussing it, which they haven't done since they brought it into play. Like, I'm sure behind closed doors, they've had a lot of conversations, but I mean, actually put it out now where they're saying, okay, in December, they want to have a decision made. So like literally in a month, in the next 30 to 45 days, they want to act before the new year. They want to be able to come out and say, okay, here's some more land that you can build on, or we're not touching it. So I just wanted to make sure.
And I will clarify my position just so there's no, I don't speak I don't sit on the fence and speak. So I personally, if it's my choice, when my vote will be necessary, and it will, this will be an election issue. Nothing will happen this fast. This will be a hot button issue. I am pro responsible housing. So if I had to choose to take away 2% of the Greenbelt over the next decade to build homes, that would be my vote.
Would you take away 50?
Sorry?
Would you take away, you said 2. Would you take away 15?
No, I would not.
So you're flirting around that, take away 5%.
I'm pro responsible development. Yeah. I am not even, I wouldn't vote for 5%. We're talking about hectares here.
Yeah, hectares.
I
think it's 7,000 hectares that the legislation, I think that's exactly what the restricted land is. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's 7,000, something like that. It's huge.
So at the end of the day, I think there's so many more solutions, and we're actually discussing them. One of them today, the biggest one, that inclusionary zoning, that I think can contribute so much housing that it can literally change the fortune of affordability in this city. That's how much I believe in that. So for the Greenbelt, guys, everybody has to pay attention. This is your land. This is our land. And we are sharing it with 500,000 new people every year. It has to be responsible, but it has to be done. We have to live and live well. So let's protect what we have. Let's densify and use infrastructure that we have and need to build. And I want to move to the next topic. I just wanted everybody to know kind of, if we're going to talk shit, like, where do you stand on it? And I stand for pro-development, but responsible development and exploring other options as well.
Okay, let's go to inclusionary zoning. Well, what's the hot button there?
So last year, this time, we had our amazing friend, Mr. Tim Hudak, on this show. He was part of the House Affordability Task Force for the Ford government. And that was a try that was municipal, provincial, and federal. It was a tri-study across all levels of government to see what the heck they can do to figure out the housing crisis. At this time last year, the market was going bananas, if you remember, and it culminated in February. When the results came in is when the market was at its actual insane peak. By the way, today we're about 10% on average higher than we were last year this time. Not February, but last November this time, the market today stands about 8 to 12% higher across all markets from last year this time. Just to put that into perspective as well. But Tim was on the show and he shared his concerns, meaning NIMBYism. So not in my backyard. I don't want a condo to pop up beside me. Not in my backyard. I don't want fourplexes and eightplexes here. I live on a beautiful street in Mississauga. How dare anybody take away my amazing street of single, massive, detached homes? NIMBYism. Then we have councillors. Then we have different ideologies, all culminating into no action. So people are pouring in, jobs are being created. So this right now, in the middle of an inflation, we have 100,000 new jobs created in Canada. If somebody can explain an inflationary and recessionary period with job growth, it's never before seen. Back to inclusionary zoning. We shouldn't have to ask Simeon, can I build beside him? Because if Simeon lives within 500 meters of a subway station, there shouldn't be the luxury of ask Simeon, who the heck are you? Other people don't want to live by the subway? Do other people have to make $4 million homes to live beside the subway? No. Not in a city this big, not in a city that's this attractive, not in a city where you can't afford to live. So let's take a house, any house in East York. Let's just use East York because I used to live there.
And it's by the subway, so it's a perfect location.
Coxwell and Danforth. Mm-hmm. There's a subway stop. There is a bungalow literally 2 doors down. There is the Greek church, and there is a bungalow right beside it. How much is that bungalow worth? $2 million? Who can afford it? It's 800 square feet, bro. You can't live. You can't put 3 families there. It's not like you're living large, but you live convenient. So a young couple will put all their money and be house poor to live beside the subway so they can be at work in 20 minutes using the subway and come back home to raise their child and pay $2 million. Now, what if I were to tell you that I can tear the 1950s shit bungalow down, build a nice fourplex, instead of having to rent it out for $7,000, because that's what it takes to carry that mortgage. That's how the market goes. Now you have 4 people contributing $2,800 each, $3,000 each.
If each unit's a 2-bedroom, you're going to be looking at about $2,800, $3,000 easily. Yeah.
So let's say we have a fourplex, and now I bought this piece of land, and instead of having one bungalow at 800 square feet, I have 4 2-bedrooms, 4 2-bedrooms plus. It's a fourplex. It's not something in the tower. It'll have room. It'll have parking. It'll have 2 minutes from the park, 2 minutes from the subway. Now I'm collecting 12 grand in rent. So from a monetary and financial decision, I am doing better than ever. I have mitigated my vacancy times 4. I have 1 roof, but 4 doors. As an investor, I'm killing it and I'm winning. And as a housing provider and citizen of Toronto, I'm contributing to the solution of affordability where people can enjoy Coxwell Station, the Souvlaki place across the street, the church next door, without having to pay $8,000. So I'm not saying we're doing holy work here, but this is our responsibility to solve. We're the citizens here. If we don't do it and we just talk about it, nothing happens.
Well, that's what I love about the fact that they finally opened it up, because now it's, and that wasn't just a Toronto.
It's coming.
It's coming in next year, I believe. I think they're going to start it in 2023. Well, I mean, the way that they've been, and it's been the Ford government that's been quite proactive in getting, wanting this done. From what I've heard, that it's going to be starting in 2023, maybe Q2. With that said, what I like about it, that it's not only in Toronto. I mean, they're opening it up right across the province, which is huge, man. And so I'm loving the fact that we can start to, go from 1 unit, 2 unit homes, and now start to get to that 4 unit. I don't think they're allowing
just
for
to
more than 4.
Explain it properly, Jazz, because we didn't. So what it is, guys, it's not just by subways. That could be a form of it. So basically, what they're looking to change is the actual zoning. So if me and Jazz bought that bungalow that I was talking about, right now the process would be we'd have to go to the city to get land rezoned, then pass our site plan, meaning they're not even going to look at the renovation of what we're doing until you change the zoning. And to change the zoning, you have to call the neighbors and you have to call the this and this. And then everybody says, nope, I don't want to hear. Nope. All of a sudden, a 69-year-old man who's lived there and watched his cats die under the tree will say, you're not coming here. So that's the issue we're trying to fix. So rezone it at mass, and then all you have to do is get your site plan, your building inspections, etc. So that's what it is.
And practically speaking, when you're driving down a subdivision or you're driving down in an area and you see a big board, you'll see that board says application for rezoning. What's happening now, so that's practically speaking, so everybody kind of understands what Simos and I are speaking about, what the government is proposing, and I think they've said that they're going to move forward, is that mass, they're just going to say, it's all rezoned, now give us your renderings, and now you have to still get site plan approval, but it's going to get a lot easier to do that. And to Simos's point, I mean, you tied it up in a beautiful bow, brother. Like, both investors are going to win here, and obviously tenants are going to win, and at a whole, the market's going to win. Let's shift to assignments. So this has been a big topic this week. We're actually seeing it, with our 54 agents with their feet to the ground. Our investors are calling us, and they want to entertain possibly. As the market as a whole, we're seeing it a lot more than just our clients, but investors want to entertain that assignment incentive that was originally in their original agreement of purchase and sale. And what that means is that before closing, they can flip this condo, flip this home, this townhome. They can essentially sell the agreement of purchase and sale to most of the time another investor, and obviously sometimes an end user. Now, why are people doing that, and why are we seeing it? Is because, in my opinion, a lot of people bought on fully the speculation that the market's going to go up, as it always has, and they never really had an intention of ever closing on it. Now, most of our clients have been educated. We scream it from the rooftops. We did it earlier today. Look at real estate at minimum, a 10-year window. Do the whole buy and hold strategy. Only buy this condo in pre-construction if you have the thought process as well as the means to be able to close on it? And if you personally can't close on it, are you confident that you're going to be able to maybe get a joint venture partner? I mean, that's something that we can always help with as well. But please don't invest into this condo is what we tell all of our insiders. And we have hundreds that we've done this with every single year for the last decade. We make sure that they understand the ramifications of when you're investing into a pre-construction home or condo, that if you're only doing it with the thought process that you're going to flip it, understand that at the time that you're going to flip it, the market might not have performed at what you thought it was going to be performing at. And so we're living that now with the people that actually want to flip these papers. On the flip side, and then I'll let you kind of go on your rant, Simos, on the flip side, for investors who have capital and cash saved, this is a possible opportunity that you can take a look at, a strategy that you can take a look at. Because unfortunately for the original investor, they now can't close on it. They need to flip this, they need to sell it, and they're leaving, for lack of a better term, a lot of meat on the bone of this property. They're leaving a lot of money on the table. And so my brother, who probably is in and around now 15 to 16 doors, his last 4 in purchases in the last, call it about 16 months, 4 out of his last 5, were all assignments that he picked up because he realized some people are not going to be able to close on it. And that's where he came in and he took over the contract because he got some built-in equity from the original purchaser. And so I always want to make sure, because that's something that myself that I handle a lot for our organization, which is helping our investors with pre-construction, that they understand, don't invest as the original purchaser if you're only thinking about flipping it. On the other side, though, we have 6, 7, 8 listings right now that have come to our table where if you have the capital, you might want to consider taking a look at what you have in terms of built-in equity. Simos, you go. And then we're going to jump into Q&A. So just before you talk, Simos, sorry. Yeah. Guys, throw your questions in the comments right now.
I don't have a lot to add. You really brought it from top to bottom. Just remember, guys, assignments, this environment, fear, mongering, all the stuff that we're seeing creates opportunity. Exactly 2 years ago, this time, Jazz has coined a term that for me, I'll never forget. He said Toronto was on sale. This was for a year and a half into the pandemic. There was a blip where the half the city moved out of downtown. Tenancies were high. And everybody said, everybody's gone, never returning. Again, like, people can believe what they want. We very, very well knew what Toronto is and what Toronto will always be. And you could literally bomb the shit out of Toronto, and within 10 years, it would be rebuilt the exact same way. So it will never leave. Toronto used to be on sale. A ton of our insiders took advantage of it, and they're all sitting $250,000 up at this point. Right now, there's opportunities again. Right now. And these, when I say right now, by the time the shoe drops and that announcement brings all that consumer sentiment back, is when it's over. Those who have capital to invest need to be looking at opportunities today, and you have about a 3 to 6 month window tops before the rest of them come. So it's the people who have the ability and the risk tolerance to lose 5% on an overall value to gain 30 in 4 years. So there is an opportunity. Jazz explained the whole assignment, the articles that we were quoted in about assignment. It's because we have such a massive audience. So our clients, 12,000 of you, our clients is who gives us this data. It's not because we're smart. It's because they know that we have enough representation in the marketplace to give them an opinion of what's happening in the city of Toronto. And when we used to sell out of 100 condos, 5 to 10, meaning around, let's call it an average of 8%, would use their assignment clause. Right now, we're seeing 20%. So the assignment marketplace, there's blood in the water. whoever has capital, maybe give us a call to take a look at some opportunities.
I was going to quickly just say, just send a quick email, info@reccanada.com, and just put in the subject line assignment, like info@reccanada.com, subject line assignment. Someone on our team will get back to you within the next, call it 48 hours with all the details on the assignments we have, walk you through the whole process, all of that kind of stuff. Again, that's for somebody who has capital, which always brings me back really quickly, right? Like I get not leaving too much cash in your bank accounts because of inflation, but you know, some people who have some capital right now underneath their pillow and in their bank accounts, like this is why cash is still king, right? Like you have capital, if you have access to it, now is when, to what Simos just said, there's some blood in the water as an investor. We're not trying to have you take advantage of people's loss, but at the end of the day, like that's kind of how the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Well, no, like if somebody needs to get out of it, Jazz,
I was just about to say that 100%. Like these guys, like there's a lot of people that have come to our table right now that they need to get out of their assignment. Like I apologize, they need to get out of their purchase, and so you're actually going to come in and help them as well. It's a win-win for everyone involved. Again, just send us a quick little email, info@reccanada.com, and just put in the subject line assignments. Now we got another 14 minutes. Thank you, Stephen, for the email address. For everybody who's watching, throw in your questions, your comments. Stephen, if you can start to bring up some of the stuff that people have been saying, good, bad, the ugly. We got James. What's going on, James? It's been a bit. It's been a minute, as the kids say. Nice to see you. Will Bank of Canada increase rates more since they don't like what the data comes out last month, including employment? I think, personally, there is going to be another increase on the 7th of December is when they're going to make another announcement, Wednesday, December 7th. And my gut tells me it probably is going to be a quarter. And again, we'll have to wait and see because I don't have that crystal ball, but I do think there is going to be another increase. So, you?
I think there will be another increase. I actually think there will be maybe two. My prediction, based on what I follow and all the things, is I think in March is when we're going to see stability, meaning either a neutral position. March, April for the spring market, I think there's going to be a neutral position. I do think prices will come down in short order. The Ukraine conflict is causing a tremendous amount of the inflation around the energy that we use every day, both petroleum and natural gas for heating. Europe and North America are affected specifically the most because we have that dependence on Russian fossil fuels. So right now the Saudis are killing it, obviously, and they're driving the market to where it is. And it's just simple math. So if some of these things get addressed, we're going to see big relief in our housing markets. So they're directly correlated.
And I mean, for me, the data that I look at as well is, and like of recent, is that the fact that the states also did their increase a couple of days ago. I think it was this past week at some point, which tells me that we're, that here, the Bank of Canada in December will probably follow suit once again. I just don't think it's going to be a 0.5. I have a feeling it's going to be around that 0.25%. And a little bit, like history again, right? We talked about it earlier. We've seen this before, where as we get closer to Christmas, okay, where people like the Bank of Canada knows people are going to want to spend some money. They're gonna not make that increase as steep as they've been making in the past couple of announcements.
And I agree. That's what I think. It's not. I don't think they're playing to our emotions or feelings. I just think we're at a place that there's just simply no more room to go any further. And things are going to get greatly impacted. Like even in the next 3 to 4 months, these last increases are really testing people's ability to. Sorry, Alex, to the consumer price index. We'll touch on that in 2 seconds. I wasn't speaking to inflation. I'm actually speaking to the dynamics of the economy. But I'll get back to that, Alex. I don't think there's much more room, meaning that houses are not $300K and carrying a 12% interest. Houses are $1 million. An $800,000 mortgage going up another percentage point, we're talking about thousands of dollars in increases. You're literally testing half the nation. You're testing that how far you can push half the nation, and there's limits to it. And if you go too much further, we're not going to be talking recession. You're going to be talking depression.
And that's not where the Bank of Canada doesn't want to see that happen.
I definitely don't think so either.
Yeah.
So I don't think they can afford it. They're looking to fix it, not to break it. So that's why I say what I say. I'm nothing. I'm just a person with my opinions, but that's where I'm at.
Really quickly, like, I mean, it's, other things that you'll see headlines and sometimes even if you go further into the article, you'll see what the Bank of Canada kind of quotes when it comes to inflation. They want to get to a 2% number. They like to be in and around 2%. I actually think there should be some conversation around, like, why is it the 2%? Like, maybe we might need to get to an understanding of inflation might just be in and around 3. Like, why, 3.25, that's kind of the new norm, because to get it down to 2%, I think we are going to have to see even more increases. That's when you can start to maybe say that ugly word of a depression happening, right? So I actually think what's going to happen is they're not going to quote that 2% number for inflation, man. I think it might be like, hey, we're trying to get to 3 now. We're trying to get to kind of 3.25, and then over time, maybe start to bring it down a little bit more. You want to touch on Alex's question? It was something about fuel.
So whether fuel is inside the consumer price index or not, the reason food prices have risen where they have, Alex, is because of fuel prices. So basically, whether we're talking about the gas in the tank, when the farmer runs diesel everything, when every truck on the road delivering food to the stores is running diesel everything, and diesel is at $2.50 or whatever the heck it's at, there's a reason why we have jumped so high. It's because of cold storage, fuel and logistics, and transportation in general. So the entire world runs on diesel, and diesel is at the highest it's ever been recorded history, like for this long. So it's, unless that conflict resolves itself and we see gas come back down to a reasonable level, you can ensure, you'll be 100% sure that you'll see food prices not coming down. And that's the everyday spend, that CPI that you quote. Unless consumer spending normalizes, housing will continue to be impacted, because that's everyday life. That's all we do is eat, sleep, and wake up the next day. So we need that to come down.
Steven, what else we got here, brother? Imran, we're noticing that the market is stabilizing now. Do you think we're close to the end of dips? Looking for advice on how I can help my clients time the market well. Truth is, you really can't time the market. I know that's an overused term in the real estate industry within agents and some investors. You can't time the market. It's about time in the market. With that said, I think it's to what we've been talking about, Imran. Like, once we start to see a zero increase, and I'm kind of on board with Simos in that sense, like March Q2, call it Q2 next year, when there is an announcement that there is no increase. I think that is like, and never will I go on record and say now we're at like the dip or like we're at the bottom of the market. Like, that's just not who I am. I've never tried to time it like that. However, I think what will start to happen is once we see, Bank of Canada say, okay, there is no more increase, and especially if that's followed up with a second announcement of no increase, right? Then I think it's safe. Well, what's going to happen is we're just going to start to see and hear conversations that people are having at home. Honey, okay, it looks like they're not increasing the rates. Okay, look, we were able to make it past the rough patch that was most of 2022, start of 2023. Okay, we have some more disposable income now, honey. Should we look at maybe a bigger home? And then You have one buyer who moves there. A second buyer starts to look. Then you start to hear that the rumblings around multiple offers happening, right? Now you start to see more buyers than there is sellers. Technically, we never mentioned it. We're still in like macro Greater Toronto area. We're actually still in a seller's market. It's about 2.5 months.
Big time. There's no supply. Nobody's listing. Nobody's selling.
Right. And so like, it's just most people compare like the intense seller's market, which was 2 to 3 weeks of inventory at some point, or we compare the like what was the lowest we probably saw the interest rates go? So it was like 1.99 or something like that. Like
there was the HSBC 99
cents. So call it like 1%. Like that's nonsense. Like we actually are used to the 5 to 6% rates, right? My first property, 2006, I bought. We got 2006. We got a 4.5% interest rate, laughing out of the bank, thinking we robbed the bank, because at 4.5%, we're like, wow, this is amazing. What we haven't seen before is the amount of increases in such a short period of time. That is, should I use the word unprecedented? Anyways, that is what we haven't seen. But the actual rates, we've seen this before, guys. It's just a matter of that most people are comparing. So it's all relative, is what I'm really trying to say here. They're comparing these. Forget the 99, like that 0.99 rate, but even that 1.5–2%. We all knew, and we can go back to all of our brunch recordings. We can go back and tell you guys, don't get used to this. This is not sustainable. We cannot have interest rates at 2%. What we didn't see is the amount of money that they printed. That we did not see coming, which now between the two is why we're seeing these massive increases happen in such a short period.
My quick advice to Imran and to all the brokers watching, I do see, we have seen almost 1,000 agents every 2 weeks come through the brunch recordings, because we get the feedback. To all the agents watching and looking for insight, thank you. We're humbled to have you seek advice from us first and foremost. But my advice to every single one of you is do exactly what we're doing here. Spend time with your clients, talk about it, take their questions. There is no narrative. You're not putting the wool over anybody's eyes for anything. We have had the same clients for 17, excuse me. And the reason they're still here is because we have conversations like this every week, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, whatever the case may be. Get your ass into gear, get in front of your clients and help them navigate these times, because they may be scared and worried, and everybody needs an outlet to discuss their most prized possession.
And from the business perspective, like as realtors, and we have mortgage advisors, insurance advisors that are watching, and part of our 12,000 person community, understand that the profit is really in patience,
in time,
and so as business owners, and I'm speaking to the real estate agents, mortgage brokers, insurance advisors, as well as investors. It's why you always hear us speak about the 10-year window, right? While we were going into the pandemic, before the pandemic, a decade ago, we've always put on educational events. The only difference with this thing that we do with Brunch is that we just don't have a lot of time now between myself and Simos to put on the live events. Obviously, the lockdown made us do this, and now we like this setting because all of our friends from the rest of the country can come and watch us. And so what I'm telling these brokers is you need to, like Simos mentioned as well, is put on these events, bring on industry experts, and have the patience for the market to do its thing. Like, the values are going to go up. Your clients are going to start investing again. You just need to wait. And to be an ostrich and put your head in the sand would be nonsense at this time. This is when your clients, and I think all of our actual REC insiders, not business owners, they would probably tell you right now, if you met them or in the comments, that we've been here through it. And we're not like, we don't do you should buy 5 now, you should sell. It's like, look, you got to look at your own portfolio. Here's what I'm doing. And here's what CMOS is doing. Here's what we've seen some of the investors who are winning doing. And so to that, you got to get out in front of it, put on a webinar like this, call CMOS, have him come on, call me, have me come on, have our VP come on, have your broker come on, have an independent mortgage broker, like do your thing.
But get in front of your clients.
Exactly. Get in front of your clients. You'll thank us. More importantly, your clients will thank you, because at least you're trying to dive into some of these headlines and stuff. Let's take one more question or comment, brother.
And I saw a good one. Stephen, you want to bring Sukhjit back? Sukhjit Singh? Awesome.
My paisan. He's my paisan.
So 1-bedroom condos renting for $2,500 a month. Do you think this will come down when buyer come back into the market? I will absolutely, with all the confidence in the world, tell you that not only are they not coming down, this is becoming the Manhattan of the North. And the reason is, so just now, because of this blip in the market, at least 10,000 suites have been either delayed or canceled because the developer will not launch it if they cannot get the sales quick enough. They don't want to carry the land at these high interest rates. So not only is the supply bad, not only has the supply not been addressed, it's being exasperated further by this market. So Sukhjit, I'm not sure if you're a tenant or if you're an owner, but right now, if there is an opportunity for you to buy, this will be the lowest entry point into the market, save and except the next 3-4 months. I don't know. I don't want to give you that kind of advice. But right now will be the lowest price you will buy Toronto for the next 10 years. So if you can buy.
February 2020 and even March 2020, just before the lockdown and that first month within the lockdown, all 1-bedroom condos, we own them ourselves. We rent them out. We have between the two of us, CMOS, I think we have about 12 to 13 or something like that in terms of just 1-bedroom condos. That hundreds upon hundreds of our clients, Sukhjit, and I'm saying this not to impress you guys, to think that we're cool. It's more to tell you about like true data. February 2020, March 2020, a 1-bedroom condo in downtown Toronto without parking was $2,450. Exactly the number you just quoted. And that was only going one way, to 25, to 26, to 27, to 2,800. Got hit with the pandemic. It dropped. Okay. The rents dropped to about 1,800 to 1,900. Obviously, we know why. Now it's come back up again as interest rates go higher, as we just went through. Okay. The people that were on the fence, the conversations at home, honey, let's buy a place. Stop. Interest rates gone up. I can't afford that much. I'm not going to be buying. What we're going to be doing is renting. You have more people that flooded the market. To like the Manhattanization effect is real. Yep. It is real, and it's going to continue. We are not becoming a renter city, guys. We are a renter city. It is what it is now, because it is like, it's just not affordable for most people in their early 20s to 35, call it 33, to actually purchase a property. They don't have, forget the 20% as an investor, they don't have the 10%. The 10% on a 1-bedroom condo that's renting for $2,450 off the top of my head is going to be going for, call it $550 on the low end. That $550 at 10%, they don't have the $55,000, right? The ones that do, the bank of mom and dad have been helping, but that's why we're seeing rental rates go up, and they're going to continue to go up, to CMOS's point. Like, it's going to 20. Get used to, in the next 2-3 years, us doing a brunch, and we're just going to be quoting $2,700, $2,800 for a 1-bedroom condo. Think about what it is in Manhattan, guys. You can't find anything less than $3,000 for a 1-bedroom, right? Like in the heart of Manhattan. Anyways, brother.
Mr. Tacker, awesome. I'm done with you, bro.
I'm done with you, actually, man.
No, I'm done with you.
I don't mind your voice today. I just didn't like the sound of your blinking. So that's why I'm done with you today.
Okay. So To our entire beautiful, amazing audience of REC insiders, new and old, I want to wish you obviously the most amazing weekend ahead. Enjoy the weather if you're in the GTA. If you're in Alberta, enjoy the cold. What do you want me to tell you? It's your fault you live there.
Nova Scotia is having a 17 or 16 degree day as well. I saw that. Love you guys.
I'm sending love to every one of you. Enjoy your
Simos, if you want to lose
family,
some money
everyone
tonight,
you love.
hey Simos, if you want to lose some of that money tonight, give me a call. We'll figure it out where the game's happening. By all means, give us a call. You're at the wedding show. Where's this wedding show? Quick.
For all the newlyweds or the people, who are planning a wedding,
Or if you know somebody that knows
show.
somebody. If you know somebody that knows somebody too, right?
It's the GTA Wedding Expo. It's being held at Bellevue Manor in Vaughan. The funny story there is that I got married there in 2009. So funny enough, it came full circle for me. 13 or 14 years of marriage later, I'm going to go on stage and let all the newlyweds know about real estate. So it's an educational event, and hopefully we can change some newlyweds' lives.
I've always felt a little sorry for Caroline because she made that decision back then at that place. But other than that, we love you guys. And go check out Simos there tomorrow. Other than that, please hit us up on socials. We love getting your guys' comments and letting us know how we're doing. Have yourself an amazing weekend.
Appreciate you guys. I even appreciate Jazz, if you can believe it. Believe it.